That's okay. You don't have to listen to it. You can let other people listen to it and then they can tell you what they think. So maybe we should go back a little bit then to the article before we start on some of these other philosophical questions. Can you tell me what it was about, some of the main things that you remember from it?
Yes, and the article was close to my feeling, and the header is the upsides of feeling small. And it was not, I am not, was, I don't know how it expressed correctly, but I am not was sure what about it reading the article. So upside of feeling small is something of opposite of feeling small. And
upside is usually about the benefits of something. So we talk about the upsides of something and the downsides of something. The upsides would be like the advantages.
Yes,
upside down is a little bit different.
Okay.
Upside down means that you're standing on your head. It's a different idea. Yes. Yeah, but the upsides of something are kind of like the advantages or the benefits of it.
Thank you. And I remember the article started from some reminiscence of the main character and maybe from author, and he just going to the, and he feel maybe not good about the so I am not sure it will be correctly, but so then his father died. He feel she need some maybe how it called then you reload your computer. So it's feeling you have to maybe change your mind for something. So
maybe like a reset.
Reset, yes, and it's about mentally state. Reset your mental feeling, and so the way he change is go to the go to the mountains and feeling some maybe just to reset, not to following some special feeling, but just only to reset. And so he feeling some special I don't know. It's maybe if we have some another speaker, I would like to give them and or him or her voice because it was you know it's maybe something that you cannot explain because you some feeling you just only just able to feel but not to explain, so it's too deep for me, it's too close for me. Thank you. And excuse me.
No, I understand. I mean, they even talk about this in the article, right? They talk about the fact that there were a lot of writers and philosophers and different people in the past who tried to define this a little bit more, to try to define this feeling or try to explain it in some way. And they kind of found it difficult to explain it or to describe it, because it is a kind of a different feeling, and maybe because it's not a feeling that we have all the time. that makes it a little bit more difficult to explain as well. I don't know. What other words would you associate it with it though? In the article, I think they talked about awe, like this, AWE, awe. I think they talked about what else? Overwhelming. I think they talked about what else? Can you remember any of the other words like this that they used to try to describe it?
I just remember only of or of. Yes, of
Or?
is correctly. Of is maybe you know this word. I'm of to you. Of to you. So it sounds similar, but its mention is absolutely different. Yes, it's
How do you
of. It's
spell
mean.
it?
How it's spelled? It's with using O letter in the first of word. So not A.
Okay, like O,
I
like I
owe
owe
you.
you
No.
money.
Yes. But it's similar sounding. So maybe it's for me. It's not the word is. Maybe it is. It word we have to use according to this topic is maybe some hypnotical and someone mystical attitude. So mystical, not the attitude, but mystical impact that you feel then you communicate with nature, and then your conscious is open to take some information from around in. So it is very huge topic. So for me, it's maybe I'm excited, and I'm not ready to explain how it doing, but some things happens in our life, and it is pure magic. So I have no way how to explain it. It's a miracle. So I believe in miracle, and that's one of the miracle. Then you talking with nature, and we communicate, and we maybe perceive the some things around us. Thank you, and excuse me, please. I'm so messy today, and I have no words to explain it. Thank you.
That's okay. Remember, that's what we're here to do, to try to find the words or find different ways to explain things. So, we need to practice these kinds of things, even if they're difficult sometimes, so that we can get better. So don't worry about that. That's why we're here. Hi, Dom. Nice to see you. We're glad to have somebody else here with us as well. I'm not sure if you read the article, though, because I don't think you made it to the session on Tuesday, right? Do you know what the topic is for
Yeah,
today?
I'm catching up the article. I'm trying to understand it.
Okay. It's a little bit complicated, isn't it? Sorry about that. It's very philosophical today.
Well, it was my bad. I didn't join in your session.
No problem. You do what you can when you can. There's no rules for that. So just whenever you have time, that's fine. Let me see though, because I remember as well that I think Nina left a comment about this too on the other post because she was here on Tuesday. And actually, maybe we should... okay, maybe I'll ask this question to you both, first of all. Do you think that this feeling small or maybe feeling insignificant, do you think that this is more of a positive feeling or a negative feeling? How would you describe it? Or do you think it's both?
That's a good question. What's the meaning of significant?
The meaning of what, sorry?
Significant.
I understand that you want to know the meaning of something or the significance of something, but I don't know what you want to know the meaning of. I missed that part.
Significant. The word significant.
Okay. Insignificant. This one, right, that I just said. Okay, I'll get the definition for you. I'll put it here while Constantine answers. Constantine, did you want to answer that?
I'm not sure I have the power to answer such kind of question. So it's maybe your inner feeling. So how do you feel? You are have a magic power, or you are just a common citizen of, or maybe some common habitant of this planet. So, and maybe insignificant or insignificant is maybe it's related to how you feel your power. Is your power big, or your power maybe not so big, and maybe how is your impact to your life? And it's only about your inner feeling. Maybe that's all. Maybe that's all. Thank you.
Exactly. So if we're talking about feeling maybe significant, which I guess is the positive one, or insignificant, which is actually, I don't know if it's positive or negative, but like the two different sides of it, it's maybe about feeling powerful if you're significant, and maybe that you don't have any power if you feel insignificant. But I think this idea maybe of being like small, big or small as well, like too small to make a difference, we can maybe use this difference as well to talk about significant and insignificant. So then, does that make more sense now, Dom?
Yeah. Okay,
I know it's still a difficult question, but we'll do little bits at a time. Okay, so what do you both think? Do you think feeling insignificant, do you think this is a positive thing or a negative thing? There's no right or wrong answer here, by the way, too. It's just about your opinion. Constantine?
I think it's my personal. Maybe be insignificant is more important, and I just have no opportunity to cite you some Bible prophets that I have, and I have a tattoo on my hand. So it is related to quote from the some Bible prophets, and it is about significant and insignificant, and also it is very related. And maybe I my own opinion, we should be as less as much insignificant as we can, so as less significant as we can. So it's not about our real power, it's just only about your social stand and how you place, and it is it's a lie. It's not normal. It is about cheating. So I'm about feel less significant or insignificant is very helpful to every every man, and so it is maybe just a principle that you live in. So it depends on how you live in and what is your purposes, and maybe it depends on everyone. And so my choice is be insignificant. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, just remember that insignificant, we usually use insignificant instead of insignificant. It's usually with in instead of un here when we're talking about it. I think we maybe we need to be both, just at different times, because I think it's important for us to feel significant sometimes, to feel like we can make a difference, or that maybe we're important to someone, or that what we do is important. So I think everybody likes to feel that they're significant in some way. But maybe at other times we need to recognize as well that, okay, maybe we need to be insignificant too. Maybe we need to realize sometimes that the world isn't just about us, that, like we say, the world doesn't revolve around us. I don't know if you've, if either of you have heard of that phrase before, that the world revolving around you. So I think it's maybe good to be, to have both sometimes, a little bit of both. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe it depends on the scenario, or depends on who's you were talking, or what is your plan against the others. So if you want to be proactive, then you will be to be significant on that. For example, in a project or in a work, if you want to be noticed of your leader or your boss, you need to be significant on that project, or else you will not get a promotion. I think it's the way, or what is your goal what is your goal to be in the project. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good example. There's sometimes where maybe we want to be, or we want to be more significant, or we want to feel more significant, so that we can maybe achieve other goals or do other things. Where in other cases, maybe it's better for us to be a little bit more, to realize that we're not so significant, that it isn't maybe all about us. So, yeah, definitely I think the situation maybe makes a difference or can change how we feel about it. Konstantin, go ahead.
But feeling more less significant is maybe not so popular. It's like you look like a loser, and maybe it's not about your successful life. So I thought now it's not the feeling of it's not maybe it's closely related to your social stand and just I remember our influencer and popular celebrities. So and I'm not sure they all of them feel them significant, or maybe half of them, but not less than half of them feel significant. I'm sure. So it's about maybe you have to have some self-confidence, and it is not relate very good then you dissolve into nature, and maybe it's about your ego and about relation with socium and your ego. Thank you.
And maybe this is an interesting aspect of it that we should talk about now, this aspect of like nature and maybe how it makes us feel. Because a lot of the examples they used in the article were kind of about the way we feel in nature, right? There was the example from the start talking about, I think, being on top of was it a cliff? I think it was a cliff, maybe. Or anyway, partway up a mountain, anyway. On a mountain somewhere, and just being able to kind of look out over, all the environment around them. I think there was another story about out over somewhere. And yeah, I think there were a lot of other examples as well. I can't think of any of the other specific ones, but a lot of them were talking about how we feel in nature, right? That when maybe we're in a space like that, that's very big and very open, we kind of get this different feeling, this feeling of maybe feeling a little bit small in comparison to everything else around us. So have either of you had this experience? How do you feel like when you're kind of out in nature, but kind of, I guess, surrounded by a lot of nature? Maybe not just a little garden, but, something very big, something very open. How do you usually feel? Do you have this feeling of being small, like they talked about in the article, or does it make you feel maybe more powerful, or does it make you feel calm, or what kind of feelings, I guess, does it get when you're in one of these spaces? Dean, go ahead.
I feel it from my childhood, and then I was very small, and then and I like water and communicate with water. So you have to able to swim or able to swim in water. Yes, it is right to you have ability to swim on the water, to put on the water surface and not on the put on the down. So it's about maybe swimming, and my earliest reminiscence is about how I drawn, and is you feel it is you communicate with some structure, and the structure was water, and is some, I don't know how it called in English. Let me please say it. My native is, we call it stichia. It's like water and the fire and um, air. So these basic things, and you communicate with. So for me, it's I understand the maybe my surviving. It is maybe belongs to me, and my it also depends on my action. But we have some kind of disaster, like tornado, like tsunami. So it's so powerful, and it is absolutely out of control. So I am always feel maybe small. It's then maybe you know this painting of Chinese authors, and it is ancient Chinese painting. So they paint the big and amazing mountains, and with a fog, with a mist, and the very small figures of people. So it is about me, and also um, and it is strange. I one of my favorite painter is Dutch painter Peter Bruegel, and he is also paint big panoramas of cities and very small figures of people, and it give you an maybe emotion of belonging to something bigger, and you feel you're just the happy one who participate in this life and this world just now. So that's maybe all what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, those pictures, I hadn't thought about it before, but they do have that kind of sense, right? We've got, those big, huge open spaces with huge mountains, the mist. And if they do have humans or like very, very small, right? Kind of very small, very insignificant in the painting. Dom, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. That nature gives you power because for me, for myself, if I want to get unwind and try to stay away from the noise of gadget and other people, I will go to summer place, just listening the sounds of birds or sounds of water, or maybe the sounds of the wind that that the trees used to it to sway. So whenever I get want to get recharged in my um busy busy day, so I'm going to go to nature and unwind. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it kind of helps us. I think maybe it was before you joined, before Dom. I think Constantine was mentioning something like this as well. It's kind of like a reset in a way, right? For our body, or kind of readjusting something, going back maybe to another state, maybe. I'm starting to sound very philosophical now. Trying not to sound too hippie. But yeah, we kind of break away maybe from a lot of the technology or a lot of the rush of our daily lives and kind of go back to being closer to animals maybe than to like humans or robots. It helps us remember some of those things, right? There's some typing here, so I was going to ask another question, but I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I ask anything, just in case. No? Okay. Typing, and nothing. Okay, no problem. But I think the comment that Nina left, I think she said something similar, right? She says that when you go out kind of in nature, it kind of has that energy and the power that you can feel when you're out in the nature. And it can help, if you've got some kind of problems or some kind of difficulties, it can kind of help you feel better by being in the nature or looking at the sky and kind of realizing maybe that there are, bigger things than you or more important things than you. Actually, maybe this is a good question. Do you think you feel the same way maybe looking at the stars or something like this as well? Oh, but go ahead, Constantine.
Oh, excuse me. I wrote is maybe how it called properly, occasionally or something like that. So, according to your question, what is left for us to do? It is maybe if we undergo some difficult problem in our life, there's only we have to see the sky and maybe some hard situation, then no one is support you. And I am not wish you to feel this feeling, but if you, for example, imagine it, so they only left you to look to the sky and to live on this planet, on the surface of this planet, and it is maybe very important to understand, and you step on the ground and every second of your life you touch your environment and you communicate and maybe and sure, I agree with Nina. So, but for me also, I have a couple of shots from telescopes, space telescopes like. I forget for now this name, but it is space telescopes. They special kind of from NASA, and it is about image of space and nebula of around us, and our problems became so small, and then you look at this amazing environment that we live. So it makes me feel more calm with my problems. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. It's not necessarily that it's going to maybe solve the problem or anything like that, but maybe it just helps you, calm down a little bit, put it into perspective, or just have a little bit of a break, a little bit of, take a breath before you actually have to go and try to resolve it or try to work out what you can do, if you can do anything. Sometimes you can't do anything. Dom?
Yeah, sometimes I do that if I want to think of my future or I want to plan my future. I'm try to go to my rooftop and lie on it, and seeing the stars makes me motivated and makes me think um a good plan for my future. For example, what if I'm gonna do this? What will happen to me? Or what I'm gonna do next week to do something better for me. Something like that. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do that. Lying on my rooftop and seeing stars makes me motivated. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of a common thing that people do, right? Do you think it makes us feel like it, that though? Like, how do you think this actually works? Why does maybe looking at the stars or being out in nature, why do you think that it kind of helps us feel a little bit better in a way? Maybe helps us calm down or be able to maybe dream or think of plans. Why do you think it actually has this effect? Connection, okay. Can you explain it a bit more, Dom?
Well, the word is hard for me. But maybe there is a connection between all of these things. And then I think well, when my grandmother mentioned to me that if you have some feeling or um, happening in your body, so she said that I need to put my feet on the ground so that it will capture the illness by the ground. So, and until now, if I have the same problem from my body, I will just walk on the ground without slippers and try to connect with it. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of like going back to base in some way, going back, connecting with like the basic things in your life again, or like the greater things around you. Maybe it's that idea as well. Have either of you heard the phrase like you can't see the forest for the trees? I'll write it here as well. Can't see the forest for the trees. Have either of you heard this phrase before? There might be slightly different variations of it as well. Okay. The idea is that you're so close to everything. In this case, you're so close to the trees that you can't actually see the whole forest because you just see kind of like the individual trees that are right in front of you. So the idea here when we use this phrase, it's that you can't see the big picture. You can't see like the whole situation because you're kind of too involved in it. You're too involved and too close to all the little details inside the situation or inside the problem that they kind of stop you from seeing the bigger picture, the bigger situation. Does that make sense, first of all, before I keep going? Yes, no. There's a lot of thinking going on. Yeah? Okay. The question was just if you understood the idea of this phrase. Okay, great. So maybe this is kind of related as well to why why sometimes, feeling small is a good thing. Because maybe, for example, in our day-to-day life, we're very kind of close to the trees. We're very close to all the little details and all the little things going on. And so we're paying attention to them. But then maybe when we're looking at the stars, or when we're out in nature, when we're in kind of like a big open space, maybe we can kind of see, the everything again. We're not just seeing all the little details. We're seeing kind of the little the bigger picture of everything. So maybe that's part of it as well. These kinds of things let us get away from all the little details and be able to see other things around us. Okay. Okay. If there's no mic, maybe I'll ask a different question. Constantine, go ahead.
I want to also add some notion. I am not sure that some sentence say my friend, and he said me, you can feel the earth by your legs, so you can feel every second then you step on earth. So it's about the feeling of your you're feeling as the part of the big of something big, and then you feel you step on this earth, so you communicate to this planet, and every second of your life you communicate. So you have to keep in mind this feeling, and it's make your thinking is in more clear way. So you it is avoid you of mistakes, then you need to earn some extra money or something like that. And so a lot of tempter in our life, so maybe the feeling of you belong to the planet, you are the part of the ecosystem. So it is maybe it is also very important, and maybe it is significant. Maybe it is one of the main things that in our life we can feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and maybe this is important for different things as well, so that we feel connected to the earth, we feel connected to the people around us. This kind of connection is probably pretty important because, okay, maybe we are a little bit insignificant. Maybe it's difficult for us to have an effect just by ourselves, but when we join with other people, or we're kind of more aware of the things around us, we've got a better chance maybe of being able to make a difference, to make a change, to be able to maybe influence something else, or just to know what things we should be influencing as well. Because sometimes it's just being aware of what is actually important and what's not important, and we need to have that connection to be able to do that. To quickly answer your question, Dom, I like going for walks, actually. I think it's a good way to connect, especially if there's some kind of like water nearby as well. I think water is very good at doing this kind of connection as well. Walking, yeah, in nature, obviously. Walking through the middle of the city doesn't do it so much. But yes, and near something with water. These aren't such strange words, are they? Am I pronouncing them wrong? But for, example, maybe walking through a forest, or walking near a river, or walking to a waterfall, for example. I think those kinds of things are very good to kind of connect with nature. because I think the not walking on water, no. I haven't perfected that. I think the sound, it kind of brings in another element. So maybe you've got the vision of the nature around you, but you've also got like the sound and the smell sometimes as well. So it maybe brings in another element to kind of connect you a bit closer to nature. Okay. Well, our time is almost up for today. Are there any other thoughts or comments or ideas that either of you wanted to share before we finish?
Let's do this every day. The way we talking.
We do it. Well, no, we don't do it every day. We do it 4 days, kind of 2 days. But Constantine?
By the way, can I ask something but not related to the article?
Yes.
I mean, the time there. What is your current time there in your location currently? Both of you, Natasha and Constantine.
For me, it's the afternoon. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon.
Ah, how about you, Constantine?
It's very late evening, and it's after midnight, so I don't want to concentrate on
It's
of
better
the
not to
time.
think about the time sometimes.
Ah, okay,
Uh,
okay.
uh, so, Dom, I have a big problem. You know, our country in the war, so it's a real full-scale war. So it's about the missiles and something like that. So I don't want to share it with you, this experience. Maybe later, maybe. But I want to ask you to not ask, but I want to maybe remember that we live in our big planet, and we have to we have to love it, and we have to still be in love with it. So it's absolutely only one normal state for the people to love our planet, and on depends on you. For example, your garbage you should place to the recycling bin, on doing some small things, and you're small, but all of us, we are the power, and maybe it's related to topic, so then you feel maybe insignificant, but our community is significant and it is matter. So I just ask you to remember of it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good ending for today, I think. Exactly. I think it's good to remember that we're insignificant at times, but it's also good to remember, and that's important. Okay. Well, let's stop here for today. Thank you both very much. And hopefully, I will talk to both of you again soon. Bye.